Hello, you guys. I am back with another video. So if you read the title, which you probably have, I'm going to be talking about my second semester in Ivy Tech's pre-nursing program. So Ivy Tech's, well, at least the courses that I take are 8 weeks long. And so for the first part of fall, I took Anatomy and Physiology 102, which is the second part. So we learned about the reproductive system, the urinary tract system, endocrine and lymphatic, and we learned about like water imbalance, and I thought there was another one. Oh, like heredity and like development. And then I also took Quantitative Reasoning. And so in that course, I learned about calculating monthly loan mortgage payments. We also did like decimals and converting them to percentage to decimal. We also did polls, surveys, fractions, absolute change, salary, and how to calculate your grades, which I found those to be really helpful. And then I also learned about drug dosages as well. So I have my notes here about how the semester went and what worked for me. And I'm just going to share some things with you guys. So I wrote it in a gel pen, so there's kind of a little bit of a sheen to it. So for my anatomy class, what helped me was I would bring my iPad to every single class, and I used the app called Notability. It's $15 for the year, and I would just take my notes while the professor was talking. Sometimes just taking the notes would actually keep me awake, just being completely honest. And then what else? The previous semester, I used to record the lectures, but I didn't always listen to them. So I figured, okay, let me just cut that out. That way I can also save myself some storage. So like I said, this semester, I just took notes while the professor was talking and reviewed the notes. This semester, so I had the same professor that I had for Anatomy and Physiology 101. And so last semester, I focused on the lab sheets that he would give us, because there's a lecture and then there's a lab. This semester, I didn't do the lab sheets because I focused on those last semester and they did not help. So I didn't do those this semester, but what I did do is I did the study guides after every single chapter instead of waiting to the midterm or to the final to do those. So that way I was learning with the chapters. I also used Quizlet, and after every quiz and every pre-class assignment, because there was like a quiz, I would take those questions and put them into a Quizlet and I would study those. So that way I had a bank of questions that I thought I would be tested over. I'll get into that in a little bit. So like I said, I just compiled a Quizlet over the chapters. And if there were multiple chances on the assignments, like if there were because like a lot of the assignments, we got 2 or 3 chances. So if I didn't get 100%, if I didn't get all 12 or all 45 questions or however many questions were on there, I would do it again. So that way I would get the points, and that way I would get the questions from the test bank that I thought I would be quizzed over. So like I said, for me, in my mind, every single point counts. So if I missed 1 or I missed 2 or 3, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it again. So that way I can, because those little points add up. If you're not a person that's like that, I think that that's the key to being successful, is because you have to do those little assignments because they do add up. What also helped is, so from the midterm on, so from like the 4th, or I would probably say about the 5th week on, I went to Canva. Is it Canva or Canvas? I think it's Canvas. I have both apps, so sometimes I get confused. But I went to Canvas and I printed off all the lab images because he had those in the module. So I printed all those off, put them in a binder clip, and they were just separated out by subject. So I printed all those off, and I would take those lab sheets to the gym with me, and while I was on the treadmill or while I was on the bike, I would be studying those lab sheets. so that way I could get familiar with the images and where things were in the body. During my downtime, like I've mentioned on this channel before, if you guys are new, I don't have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. The only things I have are YouTube and Pinterest. So in my downtime, I really would be studying those images. I would be studying my Quizlets. I'm also a mom, if you guys don't know, if you guys are new to my channel. So my time is super, super precious to me. And, you know, when I'm with my kids, I try to be as present as possible. So like I said, in my downtime, I'm either studying or I'm with my kids or I'm with my husband. Also, what helped me this semester was staying in the lab the whole time. So like I said, there's usually the lecture first and then we would have the lab, and he wouldn't make us stay for the lab. Some people would leave. I would stay most days unless I had appointments with my kids. I would stay the whole time and work on my study guides and just get familiar, putting my hands on the actual model so I know where things at. So I knew where things were at. Also, if your school doesn't have it, or if you notice, like on your lab models, I don't know if all of them have it, but ours had QR codes. And so I would scan those. You have to download this app. But if there's a QR code on there, go ahead and scan that QR code, download that app so that way you get more familiar with those models. I'll try to put like a video somewhere of the app that I used. And I found that to be super helpful because it lets you know like what parts were on that model. And that way you knew what was the right answer when you were just trying to figure out where things were, I guess, on the body, I guess you could say. I think I already mentioned that, you know, if there were multiple chances, I went ahead and did the test, or not the test, but the quiz multiple times. Now, I want to be transparent and say, so I did get a B in my Anatomy and Physiology 102 course, but I feel as though I would have gotten an A if I had been tested on the actual material that was taught in that class. And I'm not the only student that feels this way, but what I want to say is these are the things that helped me. And I know that I know the material. It's just that when you have a professor that takes over a course and they don't really understand what is in the course or what is on the quizzes, yes, they're very knowledgeable, but if they take over this course from another professor that and this course is pre-made, I don't feel as though they really know, well, at least in my case, I didn't feel as though they really knew what was on the quiz and what was on the test. And I should have said something earlier because like I said, I had him last semester and I should have said something. And then for the midterm, it was the same exact thing where it's like, what are these questions talking about? And a lot of the questions were so specific. It's like, do I need to be a nurse to know this stuff? Because when did we ever talk about this? Like I said, I came to every single class. I took notes, but the specificity or the specificness of those questions was not stuff that we talked about in class. So even though I didn't do the best on the final because I, make sure I got every point on the quiz and on the pretest, I feel like that gave me a really good base. So, and I studied the models because we also had a practical part of the final in the midterm as well. So I think that because I had a really good base, it's like that not doing so hot on that final kind of gave me a cushion. And yes, I am glad that I did pass, but it's just like when you know that you know the information and then you get to the midterm or the final and none of this stuff, or like maybe a handful of questions that were on the previous quizzes are on the final or the midterm, it's very frustrating because it's like I copy and pasted, and it took me a lot of time, copy and pasted every single question from the previous quizzes and the previous assignments and put them into a Quizlet. And you mean to tell me only a handful of them are going to be on the midterm or the final? Yeah, I was very upset by that. But anyway, let me move on. Let's just say if I have to retake that class, it will not be with that professor. I think if I retake it, I'm just going to take it online and just teach myself, because a lot of the stuff I already have like the coloring book. I already have the posters. I know that it's not me. I know that it's the professor, and me and other students have talked about it as well. But anyway, I just wanted to put that in there. So if you have a professor and it's the midterm and you're like, a lot of these questions are not on there, maybe I would suggest going to their office hours and just, I don't know, talking to them, or just being prepared, because there were a few students in the class that were just like, I'm not going to study because I know that what I study is not going to be on this midterm or final, so there's no need to stress. And I kind of wish I had that mentality, but I just can't just sit there before a test and just not study. So that's that. The next class that I took, like I said, was Quantitative Reasoning. And so with that class, we had to use Excel to calculate mortgage monthly payments, loans. Like I said, we also did fractions, decimals, we did surveys, we did absolute change. We also calculated salary. So like if we were to make this salary, could we afford a car note? Could we afford an apartment? Things like that. That was very helpful because it's kind of like, it's applicable. And then we also did grades, which I've never been a person to be like, or to calculate, okay, well, I need to at least make this to pass the class. I'm just always like, okay, I just need to get all A's in everything. But it was interesting to do because I've never done that before, to see, okay, what's the lowest that I could actually get to pass the class? Let's see. So what I did to help me in that course was, okay, so we had the math lab. So there were you could do multiple chances on the question. And I did that a lot of the time. Some of the times I just was not getting the information, so I did move on, but that was like very rare. Also, we had, well, a few of us had a group chat. And so we would just post like different things that we needed help with. And I remember, so this one guy in my class, he literally saved me on a chapter because I was just so tired and just maxed out in like brain capacity. And so I just put in the group chat, because I think somebody was asking them, I'm like, I'm just going to take an L on this assignment. I said, because I think it was like 8 or something at night. The assignment was due at 11:59. I'm like, I don't have the mental capacity to go through these questions. And he was like, no, he's like, get on the phone with me. Let's work these problems out. So if you see this video, I am so thankful for him, because he literally helped me, you know, work through all those problems when I was just done for. And then the next week I was able to return the favor. So that made me super happy because I was able to help him with a different chapter. So I will say, if you do have a group chat, it wasn't the whole class. It was just a few of us. I think sometimes when you have a whole class group chat, it can kind of get muddled and everything. And I don't know, I just don't like all those notifications. So like I said, that helped. Also watching this lady called Becky Moon, I think she is a professor, or was a professor at Ivy Tech. And she had videos over the topics that we were talking about. So I would watch some of her videos to help me get through some of the assignments. And then my professor would also post her videos with the assignments as well. So that helped. And then we had 2 big projects that were worth 100 points. And I got 100 on both of the projects. So I feel like that really helped. And what I did for those projects is I literally had the assignment, and then I had my Excel sheet brought up, and I would just go through every single thing that she said that she needed. And then I would like make a list, and I would check it off to make sure I had everything. And I was, you know, just over detailed just to make sure I have everything. Even though it was like 3 sentences, I'm like, let me just make sure. And plus I just felt like I couldn't explain everything in 3 sentences. So that helped. Also with her class, she would let us out early, but I would stay the entire time. I'm like, this is my designated time to get my work done. Like I said before, I'm a mom and I'm a wife, and I felt like, you know, if I just always left when the class was over and then came home, I felt like I would be in mommy and wife mode. And I needed that time to be in student mode. So I would stay at the university and, you know, just use my professors and use that time to get my work done. It's like, if I signed up to be here till 11:50, I'm going to be here till 11:50. I signed up to be here till 3:50. I'm going to be here until 3:50 because I need to get this work done. And I know that my focus is going to be split a million different ways when I go home. So overall, what helped me this semester was, I think, probably about the midterm or so, I started getting up at 4 a.m. So between like 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. because I felt like I just did not have enough hours in the day to get everything done. I found myself getting frustrated with my kids because it's like I'm trying to do my work. They're climbing all over me. And, you know, I used to have to get up for work at 5 a.m. And then before that, like I would get up to breastfeed my kids and things like that. So I'm like, I really don't want to get up that early again. I kind of want to salvage or take advantage of sleeping in because, you know, I made this change and I'm like, okay, I can finally sleep in. But honestly, getting up early has helped me so much because I'm able to get a jump start on my work. I also did a 21-day prayer challenge with my church. So I would get up at like 4. I would study till about 5, take about 5-10 minutes to get ready for the gym, go down to the gym, take my lab sheets with me and take my phone with me so I could study on Quizlet. And like I said, I would do the prayer call. Also, I would, you know, study the lab sheets and everything, come back home, shower. And then I think I had, because my schedule was like, it would go up and down like this or whatever. So I would either have a little bit of time to get ready, get my coffee, and then head to class. And then on the days where I started a little bit later in class, my daughter had her speech therapy, but I had already gotten a jump start on, you know, laundry or my homework, you know, already gotten a jump start on the gym and stuff like that. And so then in the afternoons, I felt like there was less pressure for me to feel like, okay, I got to get this done. And so I'm kind of irritated with my children because I need to get stuff done. So like I said, getting up early helped. I know that it is not everybody's cup of tea. I think it started out kind of slow for me. And then I was just like, you know, I just got to get up at 4 because it's just not cutting it to get up at 6 and then have class at 8. So that gives me about like maybe an hour to do prayer and get some stuff done. I'm like, let me get up at 4. That really gives me a jump start. So if you're a mom or a wife or, you know, just a student that needs to get more things done, let's say you work at night or something like that, I recommend getting up earlier. Yes, that means you will have to go to bed earlier. Like some days I go to bed. Okay, I set my alarm for 8 p.m., but I don't normally go to bed until like about 10 or so like that. But it's just a sacrifice that you have to do. Also, what helped me is utilizing my mother-in-law. She lives near and she always helps out. And, you know, she told me reach out to her. So I reach out to her. She watches the kids. And I'm just so grateful for her for doing that for us and for doing that for me. And she told me if I ever needed time to just study, just ask her. And then she'll see if she has, you know, the availability. So that helps. So use your tribe, use the people that you can. Excuse me. Good time management. Like I said, if you get out of class early, you do not leave. You go ahead and get your work done. So that frees up time for other things. Another thing that helped was, honestly, I had to cut back some hours at work. So I'm PRN. And so when I first switched over to going back to school, I was working every weekend. But now I just do my 3-shift commitment. And if I want to pick up extra, I can. I haven't here recently because I've honestly just needed the extra time just to study and, you know, to be with my kids and to get stuff done around the house because I felt overwhelmed when things aren't done. But honestly, that's what you may have to do is you may have to cut back hours at What else? Sacrificing sleep. Yeah, I sacrifice sleep to get up early to get things done. I may have stayed up later. I may have taken a quiz. Yeah, because sometimes I would take a quiz at like 2 o'clock in the morning. That was before I was getting up at 4 a.m. But I'm like, I want to go ahead and get it done because I either have to work or I have to do this tomorrow. So just always staying ahead. Like if the homework assignment is due on Monday and your class gets out early on a Thursday, like how my QR class was, I would go ahead and stay in that class and get that homework done. Now, before class, I would kind of do a review, because we had a quiz every single class period. We had a quiz. But like I said, go ahead and stay ahead. At least stay a day ahead in every class, I think is what helped. Also, cutting down on the chatter in class. I know for both my classes, but for my A&P class, so there were a few students that I knew from the previous semester, and they asked me to sit with them, and I have nothing against them, but I just said it jokingly. I'm like, no, I really need to know this information. And I feel like they kind of were like taken aback. I'm like, this is no offense, but you guys do a lot of chatter, and I really need to get this stuff done. So, I'm okay staying up here by myself, because my time is so limited. Everything has to align perfectly. So I can't afford to chatter right now. I have to know the material. Some of it I won't be tested on, but like I said, I have to know the material. Also, I utilized my planner, and I also made myself a progress tracker in Google, in Drive, in Sheets, and then also in Notability. I just made so there's 8 weeks in the semester, at least for the classes I'm taking. And so after each week, I would mark off a square just to show that progress. So I feel like that helped me just kind of stay motivated. What else? Okay, so lastly, I would say what I need to do better on is I need to do better on getting to bed when I actually say I'm going to get to bed. I have these alarms, but I don't necessarily just go. But I need to do that. And I also need to, when my husband is home watching the kids, because when I hear them crying, it does do something to me. I think it's just maternal. And so a lot of times I'll stop studying and go see what they need, instead of just okay, they're crying, but their dad has it, or they don't really cry, my mother-in-law's here, but it's okay, their dad has it. I need to have confidence in him that he's going to do it. Or what I can do is I need to just leave and go to the library. So that way I'm not having that draw to want to go get them when I need to be studying. So that's one thing that I'm going to focus on. Well, I'm not going to say I'm going to focus on it, but that's one thing I'm going to try to do better when I'm at home studying. So I think that's all. But yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys how my semester is going. I have a week break. I'm going to be picking up a couple shifts so that way I can meet my commitment. And then next semester, I have advanced human physiology, I think that's what it's called, and then chemistry 101. I'm kind of nervous about those courses, because from what I've heard, the advanced human physiology is more it's not just learning where things are, it's how different things affect the body. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but that's just from what I've heard. And then chemistry. Okay, I'm going to listen to what my advisor said. She said not to go into it with fear. So I'm going to try to do that and, do my best.